Hello everybody, I'm CJ Liu and welcome to the Fired Up with CJ show. And we are having coffee time with Christina Pratt, who is a shamanic healer and a fellow Northwesterner, so I'm sure she will appreciate the coffee talk part. Coffee talk! All right, so today in our coffee talk, we're going to be talking about awakening the courageous heart, which is a beautiful body of work that Christina does. It's based on shamanic practices, and I've actually had the honor to do the work with her. And we're going to talk first about the chambers of the heart, which is one of the first parts of the work. So welcome, Christina.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here today.
I'm happy to have you too. Having coffee with Christina. So tell me a little bit about the chambers of your heart. It sounds so ominous, the chambers of your heart.
Like Harry Potter and the Secret.
Exactly.
The chambers of the heart, what I realize as a practitioner working with a lot of people that become practitioners is we tend to get burned out. And I asked why, and that's how the Spirit showed me that the heart actually has these 4 chambers, and that most people work in one, and that's why they burn out. And that the chambers, if we work from all 4 of them, they nourish each other, and they balance each other, and they nourish and balance us. So that's how that was the question that led me into it. And so the chambers of the heart fit into a regular 4-element system. And so there's a south chamber, and the power in that chamber is the power of love, not necessarily romantic pop song love, but the deeper sense of love. Like, do you love life enough to change things, you know? And the willingness to love so powerfully that we can begin to heal the loneliness and isolation that is becoming endemic in our culture. It's that level of love and connection. You know, are you willing to love the mess so that we can clean it up? So it's big love. Mm-hmm. And then in the west chamber, we access the wisdom of the heart versus knowledge in our head that gets balanced with wisdom from the heart. Mm-hmm. In the north chamber, we connect the strength of the heart. And so that's the ability to take the love that we've cultivated in the south chamber and bring it into action in the world. So it's about power. Mm. And the thing that is confusing in our world is we talk about power all the time, but we're really talking about power over, misuse of power. We don't really understand that from a shamanic perspective, there's only one power, and it's the power of action from the heart in the world. And that everything else is what we would call it, a misuse of power, an abuse of power, power over, dominance, whatever. So this is about that real power that comes from the heart and allows us to actually go out in the world and change things, which takes great courage. And then the final chamber of the heart, the east chamber, gives us the access to vision. And that's the ability to envision a new world, to envision a new possibility, which is critical, again, from a shamanic perspective, because every single one of us is here to do something unique. So if we can't envision that, we can't even do what we came here to do, which, again, takes courage. So all of this keeps circling around and around in the heart, but if we only are comfortable in one chamber, then it can't do everything. And so we get fried because we're trying to make one chamber, you know, the chamber of the visionary be the warrior. Well, it can't do that. Right. You know, I mean, they all need to work together, and when they do work together, we're nourished, we're sustained, we're inspired, we're powerful, we're loving, and it all is integrated in a way that only the heart integrates things. There's a grace in it.
So I'm getting that, you know, in the shamanic practices, there's this whole idea of directional energies, north, south, east, and west, of which it sounds like your model, and when you look at the chambers, is related to. And so ultimately what we're striving to do, and I'm trying to recap, is to get a harmonious balance of those. And you said that oftentimes when you look at people they have, or when people look into their own heart, that they actually see 1 or 2 chambers, or is there a commonality in terms of the chambers that we are hooked up with and not hooked up with?
Well, I think it depends a lot on how we got raised, but the tendency that I see is most contemporary people, even trained practitioners who are really skilled, you know, have been working for years, have one chamber they really are comfortable in, and one chamber they don't open the door. And then the 2 other chambers, maybe they're developed, maybe they're kind of somewhere in between. usually.
Interesting.
Mostly because we don't think about it this way. We just think about the heart as the heart, and we treat it like it's just a big old blob, and we just go for it, and we don't.
Big old blob. Big old beating blob.
We don't tend it. We don't cultivate it. We don't, we don't have any teachings around it, other than like being shaped as teenagers through pop songs, which is terrible teaching.
Exactly. An awful way, which is a different blob version.
Exactly.
So tell us about your workshops. If people want to if they want to take your Awakening the Courageous Heart, where do they go to take it? Where do they find out information?
Well, my website is lastmaskcenter.org. So lastmaskcenter.org. And the classes are on the calendar. And there are different versions of the classes. There are different places. So they'll be in Seattle at the end of June, in Massachusetts the beginning of June, and probably again in Portland at the end of the year. So that it's constantly showing up on the calendar, so people should look regularly.
Excellent. Okay, we will be right back. Thank you so much for being here.